Half a Day Guam. I'm Adriana Cotero, and this is the Greater GU'd. Today we have two representatives with the Salvation Army, CJ Yurkiko, which I spelled phonetically so I could say that right.
There we go.
And you are PR and development with Salvation
Coordinator,
Army,
yes.
or coordinator
Yeah.
here. And then we also have Major Tom Stamba. Okay. Should have spelled that phonetically. Just kidding.
Okay.
But holidays, big time for Salvation Army. I know you guys have programs all year round, but right now, busy, right?
It's our busiest
in the
time of
best
the
way
year.
possible.
Yeah.
So I know you guys just participated in Givingtuesday with us.
Yeah.
So maybe we can highlight on that, because I know I saw you there,
Yes.
and I loved that we were able to talk about kids and the youth getting involved,
Yes.
and that was kind of our whole theme this year. So do you want to tell everyone how the Salvation Army participated in Givingtuesday?
Sure. Well, actually, throughout prior to Thanksgiving and leading into it, a lot of the schools around Guam, high schools, elementary schools, they all get their teachers together and they put together these big canned food drives, and we've been recipient of those over the last few years. And so Givingtuesday, we went to Southern High. We were, I forget all of them now off the top of my head. We went to 4 different schools on Givingtuesday. And they all, the kids all do a great job with collecting the food, and the teachers really rally the troops to get everyone involved. And then, of course, the food, when it comes back to our HQ, we prep it and get it ready for our holiday food boxes, which gives out the middle of December coming up here.
And then you guys haven't distributed yet, right?
No, we distribute 17th, 18th, and 19th of December, and we're going to be putting together our holiday food boxes. And so a lot of those canned food items they're going to go in there. So it'll help make Christmas dinners spread the wealth for a lot of families this year in Guam.
And that's what a lot of the youth, whenever it was Finagayan, right? Finagayan?
Finagayan.
Yeah, help me out here, guys. But that's where I saw you, and the kids had all the different canned goods, and I even spoke to a few of them, and they just said that they want to make sure people have a warm meal this holiday season. And I don't know, it was so touching, to hear fourth graders, elementary kids talk. Even just say things like that.
It's very nice, and that happens during the holiday season, but our food bank is actually open year-round.
Okay.
We have a client choice food pantry program, which we started a couple of years ago. Major Tom was actually ahead of a lot of people. I visited some Salvation Armies in Hawaii, and they were asking us how to do it, So it's actually pretty cool, because it's like a grocery store.
Okay.
Where they have a cart, and then it's one of his pet programs. I don't even know why I'm telling. He loves talking about it more than I do.
Talk about it.
But it's year round that we
Yeah.
give this food out.
Okay.
It's not just over the holidays. It's not just Thanksgiving. That's the one thing that we've made it our mission to let people know that we're not just around as a thrift store or during the holidays. But touch a little on the client choice, because that's his favorite.
Well, it's a thing where if you're a needy family and you're coming to the Salvation Army for food, what we used to do in the past, our practice was we would bag up canned food items, and when they would come through the interview process, then we would give them their food to go. But then we thought, let's try this up a little bit different, and what it basically does is give a little more dignity and respect to people coming to us for food. So what we do, we had a room set up, kind of looks like a little grocery store, if you will.
Yeah.
And so after our families go through the intake process, basically they have a shopping cart and take what works for their families. Sometimes some families don't want cans of mackerel, so they pass on it, which is fine, And so we just try to give a little more dignity and respect to people coming. And so when you go through the shop, it looks like a little shopping store, like maybe like a store near your house, like a
with
little
no cash
store.
register.
Yeah, no cash register.
Did you say when you started it? When did
it was about 2 years ago now.
About 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and clients really feel good about coming. They're like, wow, it's just the first time when they see it. It's like, wow, I didn't expect this. Like where they get to fill up the food bag, and it works for their families, and they feel a little bit better about coming to us.
Now, what about all the donations you receive? I'm sure you have a lot of customers that come in, but what about the amount of people that come and donate?
That sporadically throughout the year, we have groups. Normally this time of year, we have a lot more groups step up, but throughout the year, we do have a lot of different organizations that will come across and and volunteer and bring some canned food items throughout the year, which is really good. And anytime it gets low, like during the summer months, if we do a press release, a lot of times people would donate either money or canned food to help us purchase what we need or give, what we need. Yeah.
Give
So.
it back.
And our food bank, actually, it's the in between for a lot of people who do not qualify for SNAP benefits. They come to us for help. For example, they might be making too much, but they have so many people in their family, and they don't qualify. That's where they come. There's also some Manamka that we help, and a lot. And last January and February, we helped federal employees during the shutdown, the partial government shutdown. So, we opened up the food bank for them, and we were very happy to help them out. And so there's that, and also, we were talking about you two earlier,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So,
So
Mangkut-
actually, how I met Major Tom was
Yeah.
back in Saipan the very first time, and it was right after the storm had hit, and you guys came up, and there was so much going on.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
do recall meeting you and
Yes.
telling the story. But you guys were there instantly with relief, which I
Yeah.
mean, thank you on behalf of the entire community.
Yeah, well, Cnmi, Salvation Army, they were prepared the day after the storm hit. They were starting to cook food already. And by the time we got there, their soup kitchen that they have in the center of Saipan, I forget the name of the area where our soup kitchen
Right there
is.
in Gualorai area.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And
Those names,
we have...
Yeah, I got those down. After a year and a half. Give me some time here. Give me some time.
we had cars lined up. It was like a drive-through. People would come up in their cars and
I
we
called
would-
it U2 drive-through.
Yeah.
almost. So we went from doing 500 meals a day to 2,000 meals
Yeah.
a day.
I remember.
And then with the help of the culinary art school there, that they did another 2,000. So we're doing 4,000 meals a day in Saipan during YouTube relief. And then as the kids started coming back to school, we were able to give the kids backpacks with inside it were take home
Which is-
ready to eat meals and that also went to Tinian as well. So we spread the wealth out throughout.
Yeah, that was the coverage I met you at.
Yeah.
One of the schools there. I forget which school it was, but
Yeah.
I do recall meeting you there, and the
Yeah.
kids were all just so excited. We're like,
Yeah.
we have a gift for you for
Yes.
Christmas, and then they were just so happy to see even food. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
to bring home. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it was a great time.
And then over here on the Guam side, after Typhoon Mangkut, a lot of like the foods from Triple J and quality distributors, we use some of that food to feed at the Estumbo shelter. So it's not just people coming to us,
Right.
but our emergency disaster services also heading out and feeding people.
Yeah, so let's touch on
Yeah.
that. Just different businesses and corporations. You mentioned Triple J, so always, willing to give back to the community
Yes, yes.
here, especially in times of relief.
And quality, I think it's the 18th year in a row that they make a substantial donation to us of luncheon meat and rice. The rice, it's actually spaced so well that by the time it starts running out, that's when they're coming in with a new batch of donations. So that stuff helps. I mean, we have a warehouse to store all of that, and we let it out bit by bit throughout the year.
Yeah.
Also, our outreaches with the Guam Homeless Coalition, we pack some food bags for the homeless then. So it's not just the homeless, and the food bank is part of Family Services Center, which also there's so many things we
I was
do.
going to say, yeah, you guys have so much.
Homeless prevention, rehousing, rapid rehousing, temporary housing, 6 months, right? 6 months to
Depending on the case management, maybe
Yeah.
6 months.
So there's actually very, very nice landlords there that still keep the rent low enough for our programs to be able to afford it for our clients. Yeah, so that helps. I mean, when you think about it, being homeless it's no picnic. You first thing you think about is, where am I going to sleep? How am I going to shower? How am I going to? If you're looking for work, those things are just basic. Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the history of Salvation Army here in Guam and the Cnmi.
Sure. Well, it's funny that we talked about disaster services because the Salvation Army came shortly after Typhoon Omar that happened 26 years ago, almost
Wow.
27.
27,
Almost 27
yeah.
years ago now we've been on Guam.
1992. Yeah.
Yeah.
27 then.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
93 baby and I just had a birthday, so I'm 26 now.
Okay.
So that's how we can go off of that. So
Okay.
27.
And then so that's Salvation Army started to work here after that, and of course, as we got to know the community and the community know us, we found the different needs in the community and niches that the Salvation Army could fill a role in. Throughout the 27 years we've been in, we steadily got into housing. Now we have the Lighthouse Recovery Center, which is helping men, go through treatment. And we got an award last year to build a women's treatment center there in Tejan. So hopefully within the next year or so, we should be breaking ground and building a new facility for women to have
I
a
did not
treatment
know
facility
that.
just for women. Yeah. So we're trying to find ways and niche, because what we find is that people, whether they're coming from recovery or coming out of homelessness, whatever the situation is, or people just in between paychecks that need a food bag, the Salvation Army is finding creative ways to fill a need throughout the year. And of course, the holidays present a whole new sort of problems for people. And some of the misconceptions for people when they're coming to us for Christmas is they're all homeless or they're not working. But a lot of them are working families, and if cost of living in Guam is rising, just to put food on the table for working families is tough.
Yeah.
So imagine that times Christmas gifts, and so Salvation Army is there to help fill a need for families to help have something for their children on Christmas
Yeah,
Day.
I'm sure that's a maybe common misconception. People don't think that it's actually working families that are visiting Salvation Army.
Yeah, I mean, you figure if you have a minimum wage job and both parents are working, the cost, like I said, rent, utilities keep going up, the cost of groceries keep rising. So a lot of families are making their dollar stretch, and so trying to figure out how we're going to balance all these things. And if they have a medical situation, different costs throughout the year that hit families present different things. So the Salvation Army is there to help with these different programs.
We call it giving a hand up to families, that,
Yeah.
and individuals that need help. Also, expanding on that, our Family Services Center also has rental and utilities assistance for that one. When they're met with unexpected costs and they qualify, we actually help people out stay in their homes.
Yeah.
So there's so many things. I mean, that with LRC, we're really truly one of the 24/7, 365 nonprofit. We never close. I mean, the treatment center.
And you guys are, from just because I follow Cops and Courts, I know that you guys are always full there, so, right? They're always saying that they're trying to wait for a bed. Or
the
there's
drug
people
problem
waiting.
is not going away. So it's really cool too that they're keeping at pace with Val and the counselors over there. The opiate epidemic that's happening in the States is starting now. So they actually get additional training for that. So we're fighting that battle also. But the Women's Treatment Center, the really cool part that got worked into it was a family area where mothers who probably won't seek treatment for fear of losing their kids can get visitation with their kids.
Oh.
So it encourages them to go through recovery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This is the Women's Center is all new to me. I haven't heard about that yet.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for it?
Not yet. I know that Ms. Val and them are thinking of some names to add to it, but it'll probably just be a Lighthouse Recovery Center, but it'll be for the Women's Center.
And do you know what day it's opening or?
Not yet. No, we haven't even broken ground yet. So we're still waiting.
Really
We're working with our partners at GU'd and our architects to find the builders to build the program. The drawings already been rendered. It'll be two-story building, and all modern, and it'll be really nice addition to the Tejan property that we have. And so we're looking forward to that. So hopefully it'll start coming in soon. Probably after New Year. Hopefully we'll start breaking ground for that.
Okay, so as we are entering the holidays, there's also a few the bell ringing that's
Yes.
coming up, right? Yeah, you're like, yes.
Yes.
Let's touch on that too. When it is, what it is. For those that don't know.
Yeah, this year we're ringing until January 3rd. And people can. I've been getting a lot of signups on social media. All you need to provide is your preferred location, date, and time, and we'll try to match it. We'll have our kettle coordinator call you. Also, you can call 477-9818 to sign up.
So people can still sign up.
Oh, yes, yes, there's still slots. And we're calling on not just individuals. We get people that ring every year, and it's so nice to see them year over year.
People,
yeah, and even kids growing up.
Do they tell you why they decide to participate? Or
they just made it their family tradition, you know, and it's really great. I mean, and also we get student groups, of course, National Junior Honor Society. Bell ringing qualifies for service hours, you know, so they do that. Also, Outrigger, I mentioned Outrigger. They always would ring, and we're calling on, you know, not just individuals, but also businesses and different groups to come out and join the fun. Mm-hmm. It could be very fun, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what we'd ask groups that take 2-hour slots.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're a family out there, or you have a group, a military group, or a firemen against policemen, whatever you want to do, groups, you could take a whole 8 hours, take 2-hour slots. People come to show up and take a whole day on a weekend.
And there's various locations.
Yeah, we have a lot.
I'm like, they're really all over.
And the most popular location in Guam right now is the Mighty Payless.
Oh, okay.
we have that too. So
Yeah.
you know, if they want to ring there, you know.
We have GPO. We have Costules and Tamuning and Harmon. We've got Kmart, Micronesia Mall. So there's plenty of spaces for people to come out and find a place to give back a couple hours of their time. And again, all the money raised from the kettle stay on Guam. So it goes to help pay for the cost of helping people at Christmas time. So all the money raised stays on island. So we encourage people to give, and also to give their time, and knowing that it's going to go to help families in Guam.
Definitely. Okay, and then Toys for Tots too, right?
Yes, that's happening next week. Actually, I need you guys to come out and cover.
Actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah, on Monday.
Okay.
The Marines are coming, and they usually come, you know, dressed up and deliver a container full of toys. You know, I think it started in '95. It's actually one of our board members that helped start it. Albert, yeah, and so we're still looking for volunteers to give out to help distribute, and we're also taking signups by appointment, and the phone number for that is 477-9817 for both volunteers and to sign up for the program. We still have space. We still have a lot of toys to give out. I spoke to Lieutenant Lazaroff yesterday, and he said they're actually going to exceed last year's collection.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, they're doing really
I know
well.
that they had some goals in mind because I had spoken with them on here actually, but so they're going to exceed it.
I saw him yesterday, and we ended up talking about it, and he said, they're actually exceeding it. Their Saipan collections are also going exceeding their expectations. Remember, that just started last year when we all spoke about it, and you know, maybe we should send some toys to Saipan.
Yeah.
And now they're doing it in Saipan, which is great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I mean, we need That's one of the most fun events for me.
Why?
You know, giving out toys
Oh,
for the volunteers.
For the volunteers.
Yeah, to the families. You know, the kids don't really get to come because it's still kind of we want the toys to come from the parents, not from us.
And they get to pick
right?
which ones, right?
You know, the parents get it, they wrap
So
it.
imagine a large toy store set up from infant
and no register
to no register again. All these registers. Maybe I need to put a register somewhere.
I know.
But no, the parents come in with our volunteers and their walkthrough, and depending on the age groups, they're given 2 major and 2 minor gifts. So they get a couple toys a piece. So if a family comes in, they have a large number of children. A lot of times, their bags are quite full, so that they have some really nice donations that people are very generous. I want to say thank you to our donors for
Yes.
I know the Marines do a great job of collecting it, but
The Chinese
want to
Chamber as
want to
well,
give a
yeah.
shout out to all the donors who pick up a nice toy for a child, because really it does go a long way for a child in
My
need.
office is starting to fill up with toys, actually. And you know what's really cool is people are starting to hear our call for the 13 to 17 ages.
Okay.
Last week, Monday, I got bags from Macy's of, like makeup,
For
kid stuff.
teenagers,
So
yeah.
someone went Black Friday shopping to donate to us,
Yeah.
which is great,
Yeah,
for
that's beautiful.
teenagers. Yeah, so we need, the little ones get a lot of toys, but the 13 to 17 is usually where,
Yeah, they're harder to buy for.
and we get less donations on that. So if people want to donate, think about the teenagers. Yeah.
And they can still donate right now,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Yes.
So-
People come up until the day of the event. People are still coming,
Yes.
and yeah, it's not just the U.S. Marine Corps. It's and the Chinese Chamber. It's also some businesses will come over. Some businesses choose to be anonymous and will donate
Just
boxes and boxes of toys, and they're like, no, we don't. And it's amazing the generosity of the community.
wow. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so before we close out, I just want to ask, because I always have to ask, and I'm so curious, how long you've been in the organization and what made you first get started?
Oh, well,
Both of you.
I've been in the Salvation Army since I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in the Salvation Army, so I'm kind of I kind of been born and baptized in it. So it became my church, first of all. Salvation Army is a Christian organization, so my wife and I, we have a church service that we do for our church family in Minilao, and so I always make that name. I always butcher that name. Sorry.
No,
about that,
you're
but-
getting there.
I think you said it right. But you're probably asking the wrong person.
But we have a congregation that meets every Sunday, and we put on a Christian church service, and anyone's welcome. And so I grew up in the Salvation Army as my church, and then throughout the time of my growing up in it, felt the Lord call me to this as a calling. As a Salvation Army officer, we don't do this as a career because you don't get paid what most executive directors get paid to do the kind of work that we do. But it has to be a calling, something that God calls you to do. So, and so my wife and I were both majors in the Salvation Army, because Salvation Army, they ordinated us both. So my wife is a major in her own right, as well as I am in my own right. So she's Major Kim, and not Major Kim
I
because
met her, right?
yeah, you
In
did, yeah.
second
You
two-
met the better of
I
us.
met her too. Yeah,
you met the
I
better of the two of
remember.
us. But
Yeah.
that's what I always tell people: you met Major Kim, then you met the best of us. So,
Aw.
but yeah, my wife and I've been married almost 23 years now. So we have a daughter and a granddaughter in the States that we miss, and but we know we're doing the Lord's work here, and Guam's been good to us. So. So we've been majors now for almost 2 years. Been a Salvation Army officer for 17 years. So,
Wow. So
Yep.
found your purpose.
Yep.
I love it.
yep.
And you, CJ?
Coming up to my third year in the Guam Corps. I volunteered in 2005. First time I volunteered for the Salvation Army, teaching clients in the lighthouse what I call then internet survival skills. Really bad acronym now, ISIS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I got started, and then of course bell ringing with my kids when they were small. It's hard to get them out now, but when they were small, we would take slots, and I've known Auntie Lou for a long time, Lou Hong Yi, who's one of our program directors over at the Lighthouse. So it just became a natural choice when they were looking for someone to do PR. I switched from marketing. I used to do marketing, and I switched. And I said, maybe I should learn this part of communication. So PR and development. Going on 3 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
I just love the mission. Actually, when it came to the job interview, I think I asked Major Tom more questions than he did me. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you can do PR, you can do
Yeah.
communications.
No, because I did, as with any interview, I did my homework. I studied the history,
course.
1865, William Booth. I mean, he's really on it. He was a rebel preacher. He broke away from the Church of England and started street preaching, and learned that, you can't get to them if they're hungry. So he started feeding people, and then it's like, oh, what is it, Major Tom?
Soap, soup, and salvation.
So
is the earliest acronym of the Salvation Army.
Really?
So the social work of the Salvation Army started alongside with the development of the church. In fact, right simultaneously, right? And so Catherine Booth, their co-founders, was a socialite. She came from a moneyed family. He did not, but she was able to raise funds to help the poor during the beginning in England. So I was just fascinated with that. In fact, one of the things I posted during Founders Day was hashtag relationship goals. This couple started what is now in 131 countries.
Yeah.
I mean, this
that
started.
sounds like some relationship goals.
I know.
I agree.
I know. Hashtag relationship goals. William and Catherine Booth. How can you top that?
And Catherine Booth, our founder's wife, she was in her own time. Of course, in England in 1865, women weren't allowed to have roles in the church. They weren't allowed to speak, especially bring a message to men. But she was the Lord gave me a word to speak, so I'm going to speak it. And so in terms of women's rights, she was really a pioneer in terms of standing up for the Lord gave me something to say, and it's from His word, so I'm going to speak it. And she was bold and passionate, and ever since then, women have had a role in the Salvation Army. We've had leadership roles. We've had women generals, which are international roles, leading the Salvation Army. So we've, have been a pioneer in a lot of different ways that maybe some people may not think is good, but for
it's inspiring.
it is.
Definitely.
Evangeline Booth was the first woman general.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a fascinating history, and one of my favorite trivia is Strawberry Fields Forever.
Oh yeah,
the
John
song
Lennon.
that John Lennon wrote was based on the Salvation Army orphanage where he would jump the fence and play with the kids inside. And that's what he meant with Strawberry Fields Forever. And there's actually a site in England, they've preserved it now, with a red gate, and that's what it is.
Wow.
He actually
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's all over popular culture, a lot of movies, a lot of, so it's gone from, and just like when I tell people that, the bell ringing, the sound of it heralds the stressful part that we call Christmas. It really is an American tradition, and it started in San Francisco. I think it was 1880 or something like that. A captain, I need to read this up again, but I forget his name. In San Francisco, just he wanted to feed 1,000 people a Christmas dinner, and he just hung a red kettle, started ringing the bell at the ferry, San Francisco ferry terminal. And he raised enough money, and then he said, "Well, let's go do that again next Christmas."
Right.
And then it just spread from all over the world.
Just one bell ringing makes the biggest difference.
And it's been the longest running fundraising event ever since.
Yeah, for Salvation Army. Yeah. This is our most highly visible time, as well as our most, for in terms of fundraising. People want to give because they know Salvation Army will be there to meet the need also. So
Always.
And we actually, throughout the year, we also get a lot of donors responding to our mail appeal, responding to, which is really, really good, that they keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for your efforts, and, thank you to the Salvation Army. I know you guys have a very busy holiday season, but, it's amazing.
Thanks
amazing
for
work
having
you do.
us.
Thank you.
Also, though, just for a reminder, how can people get involved? That number again.
Okay, 477-9818 to sign up for bell ringing, and 477-9817 to sign up for toys, whether you want to get toys for your children or whether you want to join in the fun of what Major Tom calls Santa's Workshop, to give out to the families that come in. Yeah, so those are 2-hour slots. Bell ringing's 2 hours, the toys is 2 hours. So, call those. And, of course, at Salvation Army GU on Facebook, Instagram. Those are the two best ones. Twitter, sometimes, if I have time.
Yeah, social media.
Yeah. And also, they can email kettles@salvationarmyguam.org.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you both, and thank you all for watching. I'm Adriana Cotero for The Greater GU'd.